Chosen one, something powerful is happening right now, even if you can't see it yet. Your name, yes, your name is being mentioned in rooms you've never stepped into. Your presence is being discussed in places you never imagined. People are beginning to take notice of you, not by accident, but by divine orchestration. This is not just a coincidence. It is a shift in the spirit that is now manifesting in the physical world. You may have felt invisible for a long time, wondering if your efforts were even recognized. But the truth is, heaven has already taken notice, and now the world is following suit. When God decides to elevate you, it doesn't happen gradually. It happens suddenly. You are stepping into that season now. A season where the very people who overlooked you will have no choice but to acknowledge the greatness inside of you. For years, you labored in silence, working, sacrificing, and pushing forward despite the lack of recognition. You stayed committed even when no one clapped for you. You remained faithful even when the doors remained closed. But now, something has shifted. There has been a divine activation in the spirit, and this activation is causing a ripple effect in your life. The places that once seemed impossible to enter will soon invite you in. The people who once ignored you will now seek you out. This isn't about luck or chance. This is about divine alignment. You are being positioned for something greater, and whether you realize it or not, the conversations about you have already started. Your name is circulating in places you never dreamed of, and soon you will see the evidence of it manifest in your life. You see, when God decides to move, no one can stop him. The elevation you are stepping into is not something you had to fight for. It is something that has been assigned to you by divine right. This means that no enemy, no opposition, and no obstacle can block what God is doing. The people speaking about you are not just ordinary individuals. They are the ones who hold influence, the ones who have the ability to open doors, the ones who have the authority to change your life. And yet, this is not their doing. It is God's. He is moving hearts, shifting decisions, and aligning opportunities, all for your sake. You may have thought you were forgotten, but in reality, your name was simply being prepared for the right time. And that time is now. Chosen one, prepare yourself, because what is coming will leave you speechless. The recognition you thought would never come is already on its way. The people you thought would never notice you are already speaking your name. The breakthrough you thought was far away is already set in motion. All you need to do now is step into it with confidence, knowing that God has already gone ahead of you. This is your moment. Your name is rising. Can you feel it? Because what's coming next will be beyond anything you have ever imagined. Chosen one, before the world ever recognized you, God already had his eyes on you. Long before your name began to circulate among people of influence, it was written in heaven's divine records. You were marked for greatness before you even took your first breath. This journey you are on was never random. It was predestined. The struggles, the setbacks, the moments when you felt unseen, they were all part of a divine preparation. And now, the time has come for the world to see what God has always known. You are chosen. You are set apart. You are appointed for something far greater than you could ever imagine. When God chooses to elevate someone, he does it in ways that defy human logic. He does not consult with the opinions of others. He does not ask for permission. He simply moves. And when he moves, no force in existence can stop his plan. Right now, you may feel like you are still waiting, but in the spiritual realm, the process has already begun. God is stirring the hearts of the right people. He is placing your name in the minds of individuals who have the power to shift your entire destiny. And they may not even know why they keep thinking about you, why your name keeps resurfacing in their conversations, but it is because God himself is orchestrating it. You see, divine recognition is different from worldly recognition. The world acknowledges people based on status, wealth, and influence. But God elevates people based on their heart, their faithfulness, and their divine assignment. And you, chosen one, have been faithful. Even when it seemed like no one saw you, you remained steadfast. Even when doors refused to open, you kept believing. And now, because of your unwavering faith, the season of divine recognition is upon you. The same people who overlooked you will soon wonder how you rose so high, so fast. The same people who doubted you will be left in awe, trying to figure out how you moved from obscurity to prominence. This is the moment where heaven's agenda meets earth's reality. What was spoken over your life in secret is now becoming visible for all to see. God's divine recognition is not just about putting you in a higher position, it is about aligning you with the purpose He has for you. It is about positioning you exactly where you need to be so that you can impact the lives you were meant to touch. This is not just about elevation, this is about divine assignment. You were not just chosen for success, you were chosen to be a vessel of influence, a beacon of hope, a representative of God's glory on earth. So get ready. The process is already unfolding. Your name is being lifted, your purpose is being revealed, and your destiny is accelerating. Nothing can stop what God has already set in motion. You are stepping into a season where the favor of the Lord will speak louder than any opposition. You don't have to chase recognition. Recognition is chasing you. And soon, the world will see what heaven has always known. You are chosen, and your time is now. Chosen one. There are conversations happening right now that you have no idea about. Your name is being spoken in rooms you've never entered. People you've never met are discussing ways to bring you into greater opportunities. And what's even more incredible, you didn't have to push for it. You didn't have to beg for a seat at the table. God has placed you on the hearts of influential people, and they are being moved to favor you without even fully understanding why. For so long, it may have felt like no one saw your worth. You worked hard, stayed committed, and remained faithful, yet it seemed like your efforts went unnoticed. But in reality, God was keeping you hidden for the right moment. He was preparing the perfect alignment of circumstances so that when your name was spoken, it would be spoken in the right places, by the right people, at the right time. And that time is now. You may have been praying for a breakthrough, and what you don't realize is that your breakthrough has already begun. The shift isn't coming, it's here. The discussions about your skills, your talents, and your anointing have already started. And these aren't just ordinary conversations. These are divine connections being formed, supernatural alignments taking place. People who have the power to change your life are speaking highly of you without even knowing why they feel compelled to do so. This is how God moves, behind the scenes, beyond what the human eye can perceive. Think about Joseph in the Bible. He was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for years. But while he was in the shadows, his name was being prepared for greatness. And when the time came, Pharaoh didn't just call for anyone. He called for Joseph specifically. He had heard about Joseph's ability, his wisdom, his anointing. And in a single moment, Joseph went from the prison to the palace. Chosen one, this is exactly what is happening in your life. You may feel like you are still in the waiting season, but what you don't see is that someone in a high place is speaking your name in admiration, preparing to bring you into a space where you will thrive. The hidden conversations about you are not just about your talents, they are about your destiny. God is using people as vessels to open doors you never even knocked on. He is making people think of you at the exact moment when opportunities are being discussed. Someone is remembering your kindness, your dedication, your hard work, and your anointing. And because of that, your elevation is not just likely, it is inevitable. So do not be discouraged by what you can't see. Just because you don't hear the conversations doesn't mean they aren't happening. Just because you aren't aware of the movement doesn't mean there isn't a powerful shift occurring in your favor. Stay ready. Walk in faith. Because very soon you will be invited into rooms you never thought you'd enter. And when that moment comes, you'll realize that God had been orchestrating your rise all along. Chosen one, when God's favor is upon your life, no force in the world can stop what He has planned for you. This is not ordinary recognition. It is divine acceleration. What would normally take years will happen in months. What would take months will happen in weeks. And what should have been impossible will happen suddenly. Your name is being lifted in ways you could have never orchestrated on your own, because this is not man's doing. This is God's favor at work. Favor is what separates you from the rest. It's what causes people to go out of their way to bless you, even when they don't know why. It's what makes influential people take notice of you without you having to promote yourself. Favor is when doors open before you even knock, when opportunities come before you even apply, when provisions arrive before you even ask. And chosen one, you are walking under a level of divine favor that will shock everyone around you. For years, it may have seemed like you were invisible. You watched others receive opportunities while you remained in the background. You questioned if you were forgotten, if your efforts were in vain. But what you didn't realize was that God was saving something greater for you. He was setting you apart, not to punish you, but to protect you. If you had risen too soon, you wouldn't have been ready. If doors had opened prematurely, they would have closed just as fast. But now, the timing is perfect. Your season of waiting has ended, and the favor over your life is now undeniable. This is the type of favor that makes no sense to the human mind. It will confuse your enemies. It will leave people wondering how you advanced so quickly, how you received blessings so effortlessly, how you walked into places that others struggled to enter. But they won't understand that this is not a result of networking, connections, or human efforts. This is a move of God. When He places His favor on someone, no opposition can block it, no jealousy can diminish it, and no enemy can take it away. Get ready, chosen one. You are about to experience a level of supernatural increase that you didn't see coming. Financial doors will open, career shifts will happen, unbelievable opportunities will present themselves. People who once ignored you will now seek you out, and it won't be because you changed. It will be because the favor of God is shining upon you so brightly that no one can deny it. Stay in position. Walk with confidence. Speak with authority. Move with faith, because from this point on, your name will carry weight, your presence will command respect, and your life will be a testimony of what happens when God's favor is upon a chosen one. Chosen one, everything in your life is aligning according to a divine plan. What once felt disconnected is now coming together in ways you never expected. The struggles you faced, the delays you endured, and the setbacks you thought would break you were all part of a greater strategy. You were never out of position, you were simply being prepared. And now, the pieces are falling into place. Alignment is not about luck, it is about divine timing. You see, when God aligns your life, He moves people, circumstances, and opportunities to fit into the perfect sequence. The connections that once seemed impossible are suddenly forming. The doors that once refused to open are now swinging wide. The resources that once felt out of reach are now being placed in your hands. Nothing is happening by accident. This is a supernatural shift that has been in the making for years, and now it is unfolding right before your eyes. You may have wondered why things didn't happen sooner. You may have felt frustrated watching others rise while you remained in the background. But what you didn't see was that God was making sure everything was positioned correctly. If you had received your breakthrough too early, you wouldn't have been able to sustain it. If you had entered certain places before the right people were there, your impact wouldn't have been as powerful. But now, everything is lining up perfectly. The right people are in place, the right opportunities are being presented, the right timing has arrived. Alignment also means that the wrong people are being removed. The ones who were holding you back, the ones who doubted your potential, the ones who secretly hoped you would fail, God is clearing them out of your path. He is making room for those who will uplift you, those who will support your purpose, and those who will speak your name in places of influence. Some connections had to be severed, not because of anything you did wrong, but because they could not go where you are going. The higher you rise, the more selective your circle must become. Chosen one, this is your moment to step boldly into your calling. The alignment has already happened in the spiritual realm, and now it is manifesting in the physical. Every trial you faced, every tear you cried, every challenge you overcame, it was all leading you to this point. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was in vain. Everything was a setup for the elevation you are about to experience. Walk with confidence. Move with purpose. Trust the process, because from this moment forward, everything is aligning in your favor. The tables are turning, the spotlight is shifting, and your name is being placed in the right conversations. This is not a random breakthrough. This is divine alignment, and nothing can stop what God has already set in motion. Chosen one, You may have spent years wondering why you were overlooked, why others were chosen while you remained unseen, why your talents, your gifts, and your hard work went unnoticed. It wasn't because you weren't good enough. It wasn't because you lacked the skills or the ability. The truth is, you were hidden by divine design. You were kept in the shadows, not as a punishment, but as a preparation. Because when God chooses to reveal you, He does it in a way that no one can deny. You were overlooked because God was protecting you. If you had been recognized too soon, you might have been surrounded by the wrong people who only wanted to use you for their own gain. You might have been exposed to environments that would have drained you instead of elevated you. God saw what you couldn't see. He knew that the right moment had not yet arrived. He knew that if you stepped into certain rooms prematurely, the foundation wouldn't be strong enough to sustain you. So He kept you hidden. He kept you behind the scenes. He allowed people to walk past you, not because you weren't worthy, but because He was preparing a greater stage for you. You were overlooked because your anointing was too strong for the places you were in. The people around you couldn't fully grasp your value. They didn't understand the depth of your calling. They saw you as ordinary because they weren't meant to see the extraordinary within you. They weren't capable of recognizing the greatness inside you. And that was by design. Some doors remained closed because they weren't the doors God wanted you to walk through. Some opportunities were denied because they weren't aligned with your true destiny. What looked like rejection was actually divine redirection. But now, everything has changed. The season of being overlooked is over. God is putting you in places where your value will be seen, where your gifts will be appreciated, where your name will be spoken with honor. The same people who ignored you will now have no choice but to recognize your greatness. The same rooms that once denied you access will now open their doors without you even knocking. This is how God works. He takes those who are overlooked and places them at the forefront. He takes those who are rejected and makes them the cornerstone. Chosen one, don't dwell on the past. Don't hold on to the pain of being ignored. Instead, rejoice, because now is your time. What once felt like a delay was actually divine timing. The years of being hidden have ended, and now your name is being lifted. Your presence is being acknowledged, and your destiny is unfolding. You are stepping into a season where you will no longer be overlooked. You will be highly sought after. Watch as everything changes before your eyes, because God is revealing you to the world in a way that no one will be able to ignore. Chosen one, get ready. The doors that you never knocked on, the opportunities you never even considered, are about to open for you. This is not about effort, networking, or connections. This is about divine favor. When God decides to open doors for you, there is no force in existence that can keep them closed. This is not about who you know, it's about who knows you. And right now, in places you have never been, your name is being mentioned. In rooms you never entered, people are discussing how they can bless you. Without you striving, without you begging, without you chasing, these doors are about to swing wide open. For years, you may have knocked on doors that refused to open. You may have tried, applied, and pushed only to be met with silence. But those closed doors were not a sign of rejection. They were a sign of redirection. God wasn't denying you. He was reserving something greater for you. You were meant to walk through doors that only He could open, doors that would position you for blessings beyond your imagination. And now, those doors are unlocking, not because you forced them to, but because it is your divine time. The beauty of divine doors is that they don't operate by human rules. You don't need a recommendation. You don't need years of experience. You don't need to qualify in the way the world says you should. When God's favor is on you, He positions you in front of people who will say, "I don't know why, but I feel led to help you." He moves on the hearts of decision makers to choose you, even when you weren't in the running. He creates opportunities that no human hand could orchestrate. Look at the story of David. He didn't campaign for kingship. He didn't fight for recognition. He was out in the fields, overlooked and forgotten, but God sent the prophet Samuel to find him. The anointing was looking for him, even when no one else was. Chosen one, the same is happening for you. You are about to receive blessings that you didn't ask for. breakthroughs that you didn't chase, and access that you never imagined. These doors will open effortlessly because they were designed specifically for you. This is your confirmation. You don't have to struggle for what's already yours. You don't have to prove yourself to people who can't see your value. The right doors will open, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. A child of divine favor. The connections, the wealth, the influence, the platforms. They are aligning for you right now. And when the doors open, you won't have to second guess whether they are for you. You will know. You will step through with confidence, because this is the moment you have been prepared for. So stay ready. Stay expectant. Because the doors you never knocked on are about to open, and when they do, nothing will be able to stop you from walking into your divine destiny. Chosen one, you may not realize it yet, but your name is being spoken in high places. People of influence, power, and authority are mentioning you in conversations you have never been a part of. Your name is traveling beyond your reach, beyond your current circle, and beyond the limitations of your past. What you thought was hidden is now being revealed. What you thought was small is now being magnified. You are stepping into a season where people of great influence will seek you out, not because of anything you forced, but because God has placed your name in the mouths of kings. For so long, it may have seemed like no one noticed your efforts. You worked diligently, remained faithful, and kept pushing forward, even when recognition never came. But God saw it all. He saw the late nights, the sacrifices, the silent battles you faced. And now, He is rewarding you by elevating you in ways that no human effort could achieve. He is moving on the hearts of powerful individuals, causing them to take interest in you. People you have never met are being drawn to your work, your energy, and your anointing. They are being positioned as divine helpers, assigned to lift you to levels you never imagined. This is not about popularity. This is about destiny. When God places your name in the mouths of kings, He is preparing you for a role that is bigger than yourself. Think of Joseph, forgotten in a prison cell until one day Pharaoh called for him. Think of Esther, a simple Jewish girl, until the king chose her for royalty. These were people who weren't striving for fame, yet their names were placed before rulers. Chosen one, the same is happening for you. Right now, someone with great power is being drawn to you. Someone with great influence is about to introduce you to an opportunity that will change your life forever. You don't have to chase these moments. They are chasing you. You don't have to force your way into rooms. God is bringing the rooms to you. You don't have to worry about being overlooked any longer, because your name is already circulating where it matters most. And when the time is right, the call will come. The invitation will be extended, and the opportunity will be yours to walk into. So prepare yourself. Stay in position. Keep your spirit aligned with God, because when your name reaches the ears of those who have the power to bless you, you must be ready. This is not just another season. This is your elevation. And when kings call your name, you will know that it was not by luck, not by human effort, but by the divine hand of God setting you apart for something far greater than you ever imagined. Chosen one, your days of being hidden are over. You have spent years in the shadows, overlooked, underestimated, and unknown. But now, the time has come for you to step into the fullness of your influence. What was once unseen will now be undeniable. What was once ignored will now be celebrated. You are being moved from obscurity to prominence, not by your own strength, but by divine appointment. For so long, you may have felt invisible. You watched others rise while you remained in the background. You questioned whether your time would ever come. But what you didn't realize was that God was using that season of obscurity to prepare you. He was refining your character, sharpening your skills, and strengthening your faith. He was ensuring that when you finally stepped into the light, you would be unshakable. Because true influence is not built overnight. It is forged in the hidden places, through trials, through perseverance, through moments when no one is watching. But now everything is shifting. The people who once ignored you will suddenly recognize your value. The opportunities that once passed you by will now chase you. Your presence will be felt, your words will carry weight, and your impact will be undeniable. This is not about fame or vanity. This is about purpose. Your influence is not for your own gain, but for the greater good. You have been called to be a light in dark places, a voice for those who cannot speak, a leader in a world searching for direction. Think of David, tending to sheep while no one saw his worth, until the day came when he was anointed as king. Think of Joseph, locked in a prison cell, forgotten until the moment he was elevated to second in command over an entire nation. These were not accidents, these were divine shifts, and chosen one, the same anointing is on your life. You are stepping into influence that will not only change your life, but will transform the lives of countless others. So, prepare yourself. The world is about to recognize what God has always known about you. Doors will open that you never expected. People of power and influence will seek your wisdom, your guidance, your presence. And when you step into this new level, remember, it was never about being famous, it was about being impactful. It was never about being seen, it was about being chosen. Walk boldly, because your time of obscurity has ended, and your season of influence has begun. Chosen one, every struggle, every delay, every challenge you faced was not meant to break you. It was meant to shape you. You have wondered why you had to endure so much, why the battle seemed unending, why doors closed in your face while others advanced. But what you didn't realize was that through it all, your character was being tested. God was preparing you for a level of greatness that required a foundation of integrity, patience, and resilience. He was refining you, removing what was weak, strengthening what was strong, and molding you into the person who could handle the blessings that are now on their way. Character is built in the unseen moments, the times when no one is watching, when no applause is given, when you choose to do the right thing, even when it costs you. These moments mattered because God wasn't just preparing to elevate you. He was preparing you to sustain that elevation. What good is a blessing if you are not ready to carry it? What good is influence if your foundation is weak? Many people rise quickly only to fall just as fast because they did not endure the refining process. But you, chosen one, have been through the fire and did not break. You were tested through rejection, through betrayal, through hardship, and still you remained faithful. You may have been tempted to give up, to cut corners, to compromise who you are just to get ahead, but you didn't. You stayed true to yourself. You walked with integrity when others took shortcuts. You kept your faith even when it seemed like nothing was working in your favor. And because of that, you have proven that you are ready. You are now stepping into a season where the tests are turning into testimonies, where the struggles are turning into strength, and where the doors that were once locked are now swinging wide open. The greatest leaders, the most powerful individuals, are not those who had an easy path. They are those who endured trials and remained faithful. They are the ones who were tested in secret before they were rewarded in public. And now, chosen one, your time has come. Your character has been refined, your heart has been purified, and your faith has been proven. You are ready for what's next. So walk with confidence. Stand tall. The struggles that once made you question your worth were actually confirming it. You are about to step into a new level of blessings, and nothing can shake you because you have already been tested and you have already been approved. Chosen one, prepare yourself, because invitations you never anticipated are on their way. You have spent years feeling like an outsider, knocking on doors that never opened, wondering when your moment would come. But now, the tables are turning. You won't have to chase opportunities. Opportunities will chase you. You won't have to ask for a seat at the table. You will be called forward. The very places that once ignored you are now preparing to welcome you. These invitations will come from people you never expected. Influential figures, decision makers, and gatekeepers will begin to notice you. Your name will be mentioned in conversations you were never part of. What you thought was hidden is now being revealed. God has been working behind the scenes, orchestrating connections that are about to manifest. Someone who has been watching you from a distance, recognizing your value, is about to extend an invitation that will shift the course of your life. This is not about luck. This is about divine positioning. For so long, you may have wondered why certain doors remained closed, why certain opportunities slipped through your fingers. But God was keeping you in position for something greater. The places you were denied were never meant for you. The rejections were redirections. And now, the right invitations, ones that align with your purpose and destiny, are coming. Think of Joseph. He was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and imprisoned. But one day, an invitation from Pharaoh changed everything. He went from a prison cell to a palace in a single moment. The same is about to happen for you. An unexpected call, a sudden opportunity, a divine connection. It will happen so quickly that you will barely have time to process it. But when it comes, you will know that it was God's hand moving on your behalf. Do not shrink yourself when the invitations arrive. Do not doubt whether you belong in the rooms you're about to enter. God is making space for you, and when He calls you forward, step boldly into the opportunity. Because these invitations are not just ordinary, they are divine appointments that will shift your entire destiny. Chosen one, your name carries power. It is more than just a label. It holds weight, authority, and divine significance. For years, your name may have been ignored, dismissed, or even spoken against. People may have doubted you, overlooked you, or tried to tarnish your reputation. But what they didn't realize is that your name was marked by God. And now, the very name that was once disregarded is about to be honored. The name that was whispered in secret will soon be spoken in high places. Your name is being elevated, not because of human effort, but because of divine orchestration. God is making sure that the right people hear about you. He is placing your name in conversations you never expected. He is positioning you for recognition, favor, and opportunity. You won't have to prove yourself, defend yourself, or fight for validation. Your name alone will carry the weight of your purpose. When your name is mentioned, doors will open. When your name is spoken, blessings will follow. Look at the stories of Joseph, David, and Esther. Their names were once unknown, but when the time was right, they were spoken in the ears of kings. Joseph's name reached Pharaoh, and in a single moment, he was elevated from a prisoner to a ruler. David's name was brought before Saul, leading to his destiny as king. Esther's name was called into the palace, positioning her to save an entire nation. None of these people had to force their way in. God made their names known at the appointed time. And now, chosen one, the same is happening for you. Do not be surprised when people start recognizing you. Do not be shocked when opportunities appear out of nowhere. It is not a coincidence. It is divine timing. God has prepared this moment for you, and now your name is carrying the power to shift atmospheres, to break barriers, and to unlock doors that were once impossible to enter. Speak with authority. Your name is no longer just a word. It is a key that will unlock your next level, a key that will be spoken in places of power, a key that will carry the favor and anointing of God. This is the season where the power of your name will be fully revealed, and when it happens, you will know that it was God all along, positioning you for something far greater than you ever imagined. Chosen one, the level you are about to step into will not require you to compete with anyone. While others fight for recognition, struggle for opportunities, and push their way to the top, your elevation will come effortlessly. Not because you are better, but because you are chosen. What is meant for you cannot be taken, delayed, or given to someone else. When God decides to lift you up, no rival, no enemy, no opposition can stand in the way. For years, you may have felt like you had to prove yourself. You watched as others advanced while you remained in the background. You may have even doubted yourself, wondering if you were doing something wrong. But what you didn't realize was that your path was different. While others were chasing positions, you were being positioned. While others were striving, you were being prepared. And now, the time has come for your elevation, not through struggle, but through divine appointment. Look at David. He never fought for the throne. He never had to compete with Saul or campaign for recognition. God anointed him in the presence of his brothers, and when the time was right, the throne was his. Look at Joseph. He never had to manipulate his way into leadership. Despite the betrayals, despite being thrown into a pit, despite being forgotten in prison, when the time was right, Pharaoh elevated him above all. They didn't have to compete, because what was theirs was already written by God. The same is happening for you. Your blessings, your opportunities, your elevation will come in a way that no one can contest. People will look at you and wonder, how did this happen so fast? They will try to figure out how you surpass them without playing their games. They won't understand that when God decides to elevate someone, no human effort can explain it. You won't need to chase connections, force doors open, or fight for your place. Your name has already been assigned to blessings that no one else can claim. So don't be discouraged when others seem ahead. Don't feel pressured to compete or rush your journey. What is coming to you is undeniable. When the moment arrives, you will rise above, effortlessly and undeniably. Your elevation will not be by might, not by power, but by the Spirit of God. And when it happens, everyone will know it was never competition, it was divine favor. Chosen one, get ready, because what took others years to accomplish will happen for you in mere moments. The season of slow progress, delays, and stagnation is over. God is releasing divine speed into your life, accelerating your journey in ways that will leave people speechless. Where you once had to fight for every inch of progress, you will now move effortlessly. What seemed impossible before will suddenly become reality. Everything that was held back, everything that was delayed, is now being released at an unstoppable pace. For so long, you may have felt stuck, watching others move forward while you remained in the same place. You questioned if you were doing something wrong, if you had missed your moment. But what you didn't realize was that God was not denying you. He was preparing you for a supernatural acceleration. When God moves, He does not operate by human timelines. He does not follow the world's systems. He can take someone from the lowest place and lift them to the highest level in an instant. And now that is exactly what is about to happen for you. Think of Joseph. One day he was in prison. The next day he was ruling over Egypt. Think of David. One moment he was a shepherd boy. The next moment he was anointed as king. When divine acceleration comes, it does not ask for permission. It does not wait for approval. It overrides every obstacle, every delay, and every human limitation. It moves with supernatural force, carrying you to a place that others took years to reach. That is why you must prepare yourself. Because when this acceleration begins, things will happen so quickly that you will barely have time to process them. You will go from overlooked to highly sought after, from waiting for opportunities to being flooded with them, from struggling to thriving. Doors will open that you didn't even knock on. People will show up in your life to help you in ways you never imagined. What once seemed far away will suddenly be right in front of you. Do not be afraid of the speed at which things are about to change. Do not question whether you are ready. If God has decided to accelerate your life, it means He has already prepared you for it. Walk boldly, move with faith, and embrace this divine shift, because everything is about to change, faster than you ever thought possible. Chosen one, your journey was never just about you. The struggles you endured, the battles you fought, and the hardships you overcame were not in vain. Every painful moment, every season of waiting, every test of faith was shaping a testimony that will inspire countless others. You may not have realized it, but your life is becoming a blueprint for those who feel lost, broken, or forgotten. Your story will be proof that no matter how dark the path, no matter how impossible the odds, God's power can turn everything around. There were times when you questioned why you had to go through so much, why the journey had to be so difficult, why you had to endure rejection, betrayal, or failure. But what you didn't see then was that every moment was preparing you to be a light for others. You were being positioned to give hope to those who are where you once were, because there are people who need to see someone who made it through. They need to know that pain does not mean the end, that struggle does not mean defeat, that setbacks do not cancel destiny. And chosen one, you are living proof of that truth. Think of the great figures in history. Every one of them had a story. Moses, who was once an outcast, became a deliverer. Joseph, who was betrayed and imprisoned, became a ruler. Job, who lost everything, was restored beyond measure. Their stories were not just for them. They were written to inspire generations. And now, your story is being written in the same way. The things that tried to break you will become the very things that lift others. The pain you endured will become the wisdom that guides many. The tears you cried will water the seeds of faith in those who are struggling. Do not be ashamed of your past. Do not hide the battles you have faced. Instead, embrace them. because they are part of your testimony. People will hear what you have been through and realize that if God could do it for you, He can do it for them. Your journey is not just a personal victory. It is a message of hope, a sign of God's faithfulness, a light for those still searching for their way. So stand tall, chosen one. Speak boldly. Walk confidently in your testimony, because the world is waiting to hear your story, and through it, many lives will be changed. Chosen one, everything you have been through, everything you have endured, has been leading to this undeniable truth. God's hand is on your life, and no one can deny it. The evidence is becoming too strong, the transformation too visible, and the blessings too abundant. Those who doubted you, those who spoke against you, those who thought you would never rise, will have no choice but to acknowledge that something divine is at work in your life. For years, you walked through seasons where it seemed like nothing was happening. You cried out to God, wondering if He even heard you. But behind the scenes, His hand was moving, aligning people, opportunities, and moments in your favor. Now what was once hidden is being revealed. The breakthrough you prayed for, the doors you longed to walk through, and the favor you waited for are all manifesting before your eyes. And the best part? It will be so extraordinary that no one, not your enemies, not your critics, not even those closest to you, will be able to deny that it is God's doing. Look at Joseph. His brothers sold him into slavery thinking they had destroyed his future, but when God lifted him up, they had to stand before Him and acknowledge that it was God's plan all along. Look at Daniel, thrown into a lion's den, yet untouched. His enemies had to confess that his God was real. Look at Jesus, mocked, crucified, and left for dead, but His resurrection proved that the power of God cannot be stopped. The same is happening in your life. People may have tried to bury you. They may have tried to hold you back. They may have even laughed at your faith, thinking nothing would come of it. But now, God is making you a living testimony. The doors opening for you, the unexpected blessings, the sudden turnarounds, these are not ordinary. They are supernatural. And when people see it, they will have no choice but to admit that God's hand is upon you. So don't worry about proving yourself. Don't waste energy trying to convince anyone of your worth. Let your life speak. Let your elevation be the answer. Because when God moves, it is undeniable. And now, chosen one, the world is about to witness what happens when God's hand cannot be denied. Chosen one, now is not the time to shrink back. Now is not the time to doubt yourself or question whether you are ready. The doors that are opening for you, the opportunities that are coming, the favor that is being poured out, they require you to step forward with confidence. You did not endure all those trials just to hesitate when your moment arrives. You did not fight through battles just to question your worth. God has already prepared the way. Now you must walk in it. For years, you may have felt unqualified, unworthy, or overlooked. You watched others take their place while you remained in the background, wondering when it would be your turn. But here's the truth. Your preparation was never wasted. The lessons, the setbacks, the rejections, the long seasons of waiting, they all shaped you into the person who is ready now. And when God calls you forward, you must not hesitate. Do not let fear hold you back from what is rightfully yours. Moses questioned his ability to lead. Gideon doubted his strength. Esther feared stepping before the king. But despite their uncertainty, they moved forward. And when they did, they saw God's power manifest in ways they never imagined. The same applies to you. You may not feel ready, but readiness is not a feeling, it is a decision. Confidence is not arrogance, it is trust in the one who called you. So straighten your posture. Speak with authority. Enter every room, knowing that you belong. You are not here by accident. You are not being elevated by chance. This is divine alignment, and your responsibility is to walk boldly in it. When you move in confidence, when you act in faith, everything around you will respond. People will recognize your presence. Doors will swing open without resistance. The very atmosphere will shift because a chosen one has stepped into position. You don't need to beg for validation. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. What God has for you is already sealed, and nothing can take it away. So walk, chosen one. Walk with readiness. Walk with confidence, because this is your time, and the world is waiting for you to rise. Chosen one, everything has led to this moment. Every trial, every setback, every long night of waiting, it was all preparing you for what is now unfolding. You are stepping into a new season. A season of breakthroughs, divine favor, and unstoppable elevation. The doors that were once locked are swinging open. The delays that once frustrated you are turning into acceleration. The struggles that once held you down are now becoming the foundation of your greatest testimony. This is not the time to hesitate. This is not the time to second guess whether you are ready. The shift is happening now, and you must move with it. You are no longer the person you were before. You have been refined, strengthened, and prepared for such a time as this. God is placing you in the right positions, surrounding you with the right people, and giving you the opportunities that were always meant for you. Do not fear what is ahead. Do not let the voices of doubt stop you. The same God who carried you through the storm is the same God who is now lifting you into your destiny. Walk boldly. Walk with faith. Walk as the chosen one that you are. Because from this moment forward, you are not just surviving, you are thriving. You are not just hoping, you are receiving. You are not just dreaming, you are stepping into the manifestation of everything God has promised. This is your season. Embrace it, own it, walk in it, because nothing and no one can stop what God has set in motion for you. The wait is over. Your time is now.